Uh, Good evening, everyone. We'll be talking about chapter 5. So, chapter 5 would be the strategy formulation. So, in the on the screen, I'll just read it. Use the different strategy formulation tools: SWOT, SPACE, BCG, IE, McKinsey 7S, Grand, and QSPM, and other relevant analytical and matching tools to come up with strategic analysis and directions for the company. Develop the strategies and interpret the results. So, Marian, you can start.
Okay, so first, to understand better the purpose and content of this chapter, we have here the table, which shows us the three stages. So this is derived from our book. So based on this table, we can see that the input stage includes the things we have completed in the previous chapters, such as the EFE, CPM, and IFE. This means that the input stage, the information derived from the EFE matrix, IFE matrix, and CPM provides basic input information for the matching and decision stage. So we are now on the matching stage. The matching stage of the strategy formulation framework comprises of 5 techniques. The 5 techniques include the SWOT matrix, the SPACE matrix, the BCG matrix, the IE matrix, and the grand strategy matrix. These tools rely on information derived from the input stage to match external opportunities and threats with internal strengths and weaknesses. So matching external and internal key factors is the essential for effectively generating feasible alternative strategies. So since there are 5 matrices we have to work on, one member is assigned to work on one matrix. We have here our assigned tasks, which we have chosen last week. I have provided the pages and the book we are using as a reference. So please take note that there are PowerPoints and videos we can watch under the recent module in our CBMEC canvas for us to understand these matrices further. Since we have already assigned these tasks last week, we can now give updates on where we are now in our assigned matrix or share information that we currently have. So to give you an update, since I am assigned to work on the SWOT matrix, I am almost done with my part. There are some polishing and reviews that I need to do before I finalize my SWOT matrix. To give some information, in making the SWOT matrix, we are asked to match key external and internal factors. With that, we are able to develop 4 types of strategies, such as strengths, opportunity strategies, weaknesses, opportunity strategies, strengths, threats strategies, and weaknesses, threats strategies. Um, SO strategies or strengths opportunity strategies use a firm's internal strengths to take advantage of external opportunities. WO or weaknesses opportunity strategies aim at improving internal weaknesses by taking advantage of external opportunities. ST strategies, also known as strengths threat strategies, use a firm's strengths to avoid or reduce the impact of external threats. WT or weaknesses threat strategies are defensive tactics directed at reducing internal weaknesses and avoiding external threats. Um, so for Porsche, we have identified that the strengths include growth and revenue, good profitability, good liquidity ratios, effective organizational structure, clear systems, good corporate culture, strong staff skills and expertise. For weaknesses, we have unsuccessful product innovation, high maintenance and production costs, few locations and few employees, brand inconsistency. For opportunities, we have Porsche's expansion to other countries or market demographics, development of new SUVs and electric cars, development of new systems and processes, Porsche's manufacturing and distribution, and competitive advantage by utilizing data and analytics. So lastly, for threats, we have challenges in government policies, existing competition, technological learning curve for new practices, environmental challenges, and consumer lifestyle changes. So basically, in doing this matrix, I referred to the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we have identified in the previous chapters. For example, with SO strategies, I was able to pair growth and revenue with development of new SUVs. With this, a good SO strategy for Porsche would be to expand their product line, which means that they can widen their target audience and open up their customer base. For WO strategies, rather, I was able to pair unsuccessful product innovation with competitive advantage by utilizing data analytics. With that, a good WO strategy is for Porsche to establish a better or improve their product quality analytics. Analytics helps to extend quality coverage to upstream activities and manufacturing. For ST strategies, I was able to pair strong staff skills and expertise with environmental challenges. With that, a good SC strategy for Porsche is to employ environmental consultants. With the rapid environmental changes, the company needs the knowledge of environmental consultants to inform new products, development, management practices, and manufacturing processes. An environmental consultant can help Porsche address environmental issues and lower environmental impact. For weakness threats strategies, I was able to pair few locations and few employees with existing competition. Without a good WT strategies for Porsche to add more stores in various locations. So Porsche should expand to other countries and improve their distribution networks to gain competitive advantage and improve company performance. So that would be all for my part. Um, I think Faith is yeah, for Space Matrix.
Okay, thank you for that, Marian. So yeah, I'll be assigned to do the space matrix. So for this part, I'm actually still about to review the internal and external analysis that we've made in the previous chapters. Since with the space matrix, the space analysis, it's the analysis of the following four dimensions in a two-dimensional portfolio analysis, and it involves a consideration of one, a company's competitive advantage, two, a company's financial strength, three, industry strength, and fourth, the environmental stability. So the space matrix is primarily divided into four quadrants, thus having these four characteristics that we have to really think about and use them as basis for a strategy. So various factors are evaluated for determining each of the dimensions, and they are summarized into four parts. So under companies' competitive advantage, we should look into Porsche's market share, their product quality, product life cycle, product replacement cycle, customer loyalty, competitors' capacity utilization, technological know-how, and vertical integration, amongst others. Next, for the other dimension, we have companies' financial strength. So for this part, we should look into Porsche's financials. So maybe we could look into the past 3 years, probably their return on investment, leverage, liquidity, capital required, or their available capital, their cash flow, ease of exit from market, risk involved in business. For the third dimension, we have industry strength. So this would fall under Porsche's growth potential, the profit potential, financial stability, resource utilization, capital intensity, productivity, and capacity utilization. Lastly, for the last quadrant, we have environmental stability. So the factors evaluated for this would be technological changes, rate of inflation, demand variability, prices of competing products, barriers to entry into market, competitive pressure, and price elasticity of demand, amongst others. So based on all these factors under each dimension, I've seen that most of these dimensions or factors, their characteristics, could be found in our previous chapter. So it would be a really good basis for our strategy, since the strategies would answer how Porsche can grow exponentially through their financials and others. So using the strategic position and action evaluation matrix method, we find the strategic position or posture of Porsche. So we analyze the four dimensions in this method, and two of them would contribute to the internal dimensions, and the other two would be external dimensions. The internal dimension includes the competitive advantage and the financial strength, which are the major factors to determine the strategic position of any organization. And for the external dimensions, it would be the industry strength and the environmental stability, which is used to identify the strategic position in the industry. So by evaluating these four dimensions, it would result in four different strategic postures. So whatever the results may be, like when we do this part for the space matrix, the strategies should fall under these, either in one or two of these four types of postures. So the first posture would be aggressive posture, indicating that the company can fully exploit available opportunities and enhance its market share. As the company has high financial strength, high industry strength, it enjoys competitive advantage and belongs to an attractive industry and operates in a relatively stable environmental conditions. This type of posture is akin to Michael Porter's generic strategy of overall cost leadership. So the second possible result would be competitive posture. So indicates limited financial strength, medium competitive advantage in an attractive industry, and operating in a relatively volatile or unstable environment, necessitating the company to maintain and enhance competitive advantage by improving or differentiating product, widening the product line, improving marketing effectiveness, and mobilizing, augmenting financial resources. And this posture is considered to be quite similar to Michael Porter's generic strategy of product differentiation. So for the third posture, we have conservative posture, indicating a company having limited competitive advantage in a not so attractive industry, but enjoying financial strength and operating in a relatively stable environment. Such a company should endeavor to cut down non-performing product, control costs, improve productivity, introduce new products, and enhance sales by profitable market expansion. So this posture can be compared with Michael Porter's generic strategy of focus. Lastly, there is the defensive posture. So this indicates a company that lacks both competitive advantage and financial strength and belongs to a not so attractive industry and operates in an unstable environment. All the four dimensions are weak and works against the company. It is advisable for such a company to initiate measures like discontinue non-viable products, slightly control costs, and monitor cash flow strictly, cutting down or reducing capacity and postponing or limiting investments. So the basic strategic postures determines the appropriate financial as regards the project-related investment. After identifying the appropriate posture of an organization, which in turn helps to identify the organization's generic competitive strategies, this leads to define the strategic thrust for the business. Afterwards, the managers or the recommendations that we would make for Porsche, their top level management, can choose the appropriate strategy in which they would need to focus on to achieve their strategic objectives and goals. So that's mostly it for what I've researched about the space matrix. So next part would be BCG matrix.
So I was assigned the BCG matrix and I already made the table, but it's still lacking and needs a few corrections. And I also researched about the BCG matrix, and the BCG matrix was a framework originally devised by Boston Consulting Group to strategically measure the potential growth rate of a company within its industry versus its relative market share. This is also known as the growth market share matrix. By plotting these factors, it is possible to identify which products a company should further invest in and which products it should diversify away from. The BCG matrix will help develop a long-term strategic marketing plan to create more profitable products. The BCG growth share matrix breaks down products into four categories known as dogs, cash cows, stars, and question marks. Each category quadrant has its own set of unique characteristics. So first is the stars, and these are products that are in high growth markets and occupy a large portion of that market. These are considered stars and require more investments. In the upper left quadrant are stars that generate high returns but consume large amounts of corporate money. If the star can continue to be the market leader, it will eventually become the cash cow when overall market growth slows. Next is the question mark. It is a questionable opportunity that arises in the market with high growth, but where the company does not have a significant market share. A question mark is located in the upper right portion of the grid. They tend to grow quickly but consume a lot of company resources. The products in this quadrant should be analyzed frequently and thoroughly to see if they are worth repairing. Next is the cows. Cows are products that are in low growth areas, but for which the company has a relatively large market share, and these are considered cash cows. The company should thus milk the cash cow for as long as it can. Cash cows, seen in the lower left quadrant, are typically leading products in markets that are mature. Generally, these products generate returns that are higher than the market's growth rate and sustain itself from a cash flow perspective. These products should be taken advantage for as long as possible. Last is the dogs. If a company's product has a low market share and growth rate, it is considered a dog and should be sold, liquidated, or redeployed. Dogs are in the bottom right quadrant of the grid, and they have small market share to no growth, so they don't bring much profit to the company. Because of this, the dog can become a money trap and tie up the company's funds for a long period of time. So I think that's all for my part.
All right, thanks for that, Marichris. Next would be the IE matrix. Shane.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I was actually assigned the IE matrix, and what I've done so far is I actually did some research on it since I was very unfamiliar with the matrix. And so what I came up with was that was a few um, uh, actually a few links from different websites that explained what the IE matrix was about. Basically, the IE matrix positions an organization's various divisions in a 9-cell display. So the IE matrix is actually very similar to the BCG matrix in that both tools involve plotting a firm's divisions in a schematic diagram. And this is why they are both called portfolio matrices. Strategists in multi-divisional firms often develop both the BCG matrix and the IE matrix in formulating alternative strategies. And a common practice is to develop a BCG matrix and an IE matrix for the present, and then develop projected matrices to reflect expectations of the future. So the IE matrix is another strategic management tool used to analyze working conditions and strategic positions of a business. Basically, the IE matrix is based on an analysis of internal and external business factors, which are combined into one suggestive model. It is also a continuation of the EFE matrix and IFE matrix models. So that's what I'm actually about to do as well. I'm going to refer back to the EFE and the IFE matrix that we've made in the previous chapters, so that we'll be able to move forward with this one. Because again, the IE matrix is based on these. And so that being said, the IE matrix is actually following two different criteria. First, score from the EFE matrix, which is plotted on the y-axis, and the score from the IFE matrix is plotted on the x-axis. So the IE matrix works in a way that you plot the total weighted score from the EFE matrix on the y-axis and draw a horizontal line across the plane. Then you take the score calculated in the IFE matrix and plot it on the x-axis and draw a vertical line across the plane. So the point where your horizontal line meets your vertical line is the determinant of your strategy. So this point shows the strategy that your company should follow. So yeah, that's all for my part.
Thanks for that, Shane. Lastly, we have the grand strategy matrix, which will be done by Clyde.
So for the grand strategy matrix, I was able to actually start a bit of it already. So basically, the grand strategy matrix shows us the positioning of a company, um, mainly by two things, which is its market growth, whether it's rapid or slow, and its competitive position, whether it's weak or strong. So um, it the matrix comprises of four quadrants. The first quadrant being um, having a rapid market growth and strong competitive position. So the strategies under this quadrant are market development, market penetration, product development, forward integration, backward integration, horizontal integration, and related diversification. For the second quadrant, quadrant two, it has a rapid market growth still, but with a weak competitive position. So companies under this quadrant will have the same market rapid market growth as quadrant one, but they have the weaker competitive position. So the the strategies under this quadrant are still market development, market penetration, product development, horizontal integration, but they have divestiture and liquidation. So the third quadrant has a weak competitive position and slow market growth. Under this quadrant is retrenchment, related diversification, unrelated diversification, divestiture, and liquidation. So for the fourth quadrant, it has a strong competitive position, but a slow market growth. Under that is the related diversification, unrelated diversification, and joint ventures. So with my research, I was able to determine that Porsche falls under the first quadrant because it has a um, rapid growth and strong competitive position. So for market development strategies entail finding a new group of buyers for existing products. Porsche cars such as the 911 have are available in different trims such as the S model, GTS model, Turbo model, and GT models. This is to have their cars cater to the different needs that potential buyers are looking to have met. And for market penetration, Porsche cars are available everywhere with over 650 dealers worldwide. So a lot of the world has access to these cars. And for product development, Porsche continues to develop all the models in their lineup from the oldest model being the 911 to the newest, which is the Taycan. So they come up with new iterations of their products every cycle and continue to push the limit further in terms of performance on and off the track. So aside from that, we have backward integration. Backward integration is a form of vertical integration where a company purchases the suppliers of products or services in its supply chain. So for Porsche, Porsche recently acquired shares in the US company Group 14 Technologies, a producer of advanced silicon carbon technology for lithium ion batteries. So obviously the purpose of Porsche buying this is to further their drive to develop high performance batteries that they can use for their cars. Um, yeah, and for related diversification, as stated in previous chapters, Porsche expanded its product range with the introduction of the Porsche Taycan, Porsche's first fully electric vehicle. This related diversification was driven by the rapidly increasing demand for electric vehicles and environmental plans such as the EU pushing to ban the production of petrol and diesel powered vehicles by the year 2035. So that would be all for my part.
Okay,
Thanks for that, Clyde. So, you go, Marian.
okay, so going back to the table I have presented a while ago, we will be working on the decision stage once we have finished the matrices. So in this stage, we create the QSPM. So this stage will allow us to develop the strategies and interpret the results. The quantitative strategic planning matrix, or QSPM, which comprises stage 3 of the strategy formulation analytical framework. This objectively indicates which alternative strategies are best. So the QSPM uses input from stage 1 and matching results from stage 2 to decide objectively among alternative strategies. That is the EFE matrix, IFE matrix, and CPM that comprise stage 1, coupled with the SWOT matrix, base matrix, BCG matrix, IE matrix, and grand strategy matrix that comprise stage 2, which we are currently working on. So these provide the needed information for setting up the QSPM. Once we finish our stage 2 matrices, let's just inform each other through our group chat. So once all the members have worked on their individual matrices, we can work on our QSPM. To give you an idea, this is how the QSPM would look like. So I think that would be all for today's meeting. We could just update each other through our group chat so that we could start on our QSPM.
All right, thank you, Marian.
When is the chapter due? Was the deadline put yet?
It's in the course outline. I think it's next week. Wait, let me check the file first. Drafting of chapter 5 would be October 24 and 26. So basically Monday and today. But I think we can work on it this week or next week as well. Yep. All right. But for chapter 6, 7, and 8, that would be due November 16 and 21. So I think before that time we should be finished with module 5 na, so we can start so we can finish off the paper na. That would be
Alright.
a timeline.
Yeah, it'd be good to have the chapter by this week.
All right. Does anyone want to add anything else before we end the meeting? If there's none, then maybe we can end. So we can start doing our respective parts for chapter 5. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Everyone.